Because you guys act like you've never heard people say this before. It's just because I'm going to step. I'm actually going to say what everyone else is thinking because it's the truth. But I'll say it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Annie's Review Time. I'm Annie's Review Time. And today we are going to be talking about love triangles and specifically my hatred of them. So, follow me on Instagram, sign the link in my petition, why do I always mess this up? Sign the petition linked in the description below. So, this doesn't really have anything to do with the topic. This is a Harry Potter wand, but it's Luna Lovegood's wand. I bought it when I went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter before I found out that J.K. Rowling was a transphobe, so the money was already spent. I don't even know if it goes to her pocket, but it probably does, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life. Anyways, I bought this piece of wood for $53 for it to do nothing, so now I'm putting it to use. And it's going to do nothing still, but I'm going to be holding it. So, yeah. Okay, perfect. So, we're going to be talking about love triangles. I hate love triangles. Did I already say follow me on Instagram? I hope I did. I hate love triangles. Love triangles are the bane of my existence. I think this is like the third rant video that will be posted on my channel. I've done like 4 of them, but I didn't post one of them because I just decided not to because I was depressed. So now I'm posting one. So now I'm posting this one. Love triangles. Love triangles, if you don't know what a love triangle is. A love triangle is when there's one person who's in love with 2 people. Hence the triangular motion that I'm demonstrating over here on the side. So that triangular motion is a plot point. And that plot point's been haunting me for like all of my life since I was like 5 years old. Well, actually, since I was a baby. So yes, I've been haunted by love triangles since I was a baby, and I'm gonna examine love triangles and dissect and hopefully explain my disgust and anger towards them. Okay, so here we go. Alright, so there's different types of love triangles. I got most of these from the TV Tropes website. Why won't this stand? Okay, I got most of these from the TV Tropes website, but I did make up a few based off of like my own observations. So I wrote them down and I did have examples. So I'm going to rant against them. But fair warning, first of all, spoiler alert for like a lot of shows, movies, books, and or songs. And also, I haven't seen a couple of the shows / movies that I'm talking about. I just know them purely based off of reputation alone. So for the ones that I don't know, I'll just talk about what I do know about the source material, but I'll probably focus more on what I've seen / heard with my own eyes / experienced. So first, we have the Betty and Veronica love triangle. So the Betty and Veronica love triangle, that is when usually the person who's in turmoil over the 2 people here, they're in turmoil because these 2 girls, it's usually a man, these 2 girls are complete opposites of each other. One, the Betty, is the girl next door. Sweet, you know the type. It's a typical character archetype. Second, we have the Veronica. She's exotic and new and cool and bad and whatever. Who cares? So, the example that I got for the Betty Veronica love triangle is Maya, Riley, and Lucas love triangle from Girl Meets World. Now, you may have seen some scenes of Girl Meets World circulating on like Twitter or whatever.
Okay, what's this?
We are putting up a wall to protect ourselves from them.
Don't you think that's a little extreme?
It's the judgment of the honor board to separate those who cheat.
Share. Hey! We all said it at the same time! I'm hungry. What is happening to us? Whoa.
We don't want to become like them. We'd rather remain a free society of individuals, instead of whatever the heck that was.
But isn't the best part of a free society the fact that it allows its people to consider all beliefs?
Yeah, but I want my friends back, Mr. Matthews. Can you fix this?
You know, I graded your recent exams. Mr. Fryer, 100%. You get an A. Mr. Babineau, 100%. You get an A. Ms. Hart, Ms. Matthews, Farkle, 100%. You get a C.
What? We get a what's that you say now? How do we get 100% and get a C?
Because when you get everything right, but you don't do it yourselves, it makes you average. A divided by 3 is a C. Look at you. You're all the same. You're average. You're common.
Communism. This is why it fell? People didn't want to all be the same?
Come on. This is a joke.
And yes, the show has some plot points that did not age well, but I watched the show religiously from when I was like 9 to 11. So, yes. I watched Girl Meets World, and for like 22 episodes from the middle of season 2 to the first half, like the second half of season 2 and the first half of season 3, a main plot point was the love triangle between the best friends and main characters, Maya and Riley, and Lucas, like the worst person on that show besides Riley. Anyways, so Maya is the Veronica. She's very edgy, and she's sad, and she comes from a broken home. She's the bad one, I guess. I like her more than Riley. Anyways, Riley is the Betty, girl next door, main character, typical main character things. She's quirky, relatable. Moving right along. Lucas is plain white bread, but he's plain white bread with a twist. Apparently, in a past life, he was like a bad boy cowboy type, but it's like we never see that. So for most of the show, he's plain white bread, and he's just a vessel. Lucas has no personality. He's just a vessel of. He's just a vessel for Riley to project her growing infatuation from her puberty. That's it. Like, he doesn't need to be a character. He doesn't have to have personality, because he's not there to be a person. He's there for Riley to have a crush on and eventually be in love with. I'm sure if the show, he was the Topanga of this show, but Topanga is actually an interesting character. Anyways, he was just a vessel for Riley and eventually Maya and sometimes Smackle to be in love with. He didn't have to be a good or interesting person. He just had to be a pretty face. And that's what made this. I watched 22 episodes of this love triangle. And you know what happened? I was the side, because in love triangles usually are on a side. The side I was on was Maya. I wanted Lucas and Maya to be together because I felt like Lucas and Maya had better chemistry than Riley and Lucas. And also, I thought that Lucas actually started developing a personality when he was around Maya. When he was with Riley, he just got to be his plain white bread self, but Maya actually challenged him and who he was, and that was actually very interesting for a relationship. But no, I don't get to have nice things. I have to live in constant turmoil, and that's what happened with that show. You know what happened? The show had live tapings, right? They were filmed in front of a live studio audience. This Girl Meets Ski Lodge. That was the episode where we would find out who Lucas chose to be with, because of course these two best friends are just waiting around for Lucas to make up his mind, and he would have to equally compliment them. He couldn't show that he liked one more than the other, blah blah blah. Anyways, I was waiting for the episode to come out because I knew that it wouldn't come out for 2 more weeks. So what I did was I went on YouTube and I found someone who had a friend who went to the live taping, which would happen weeks before. It would happen weeks before the episode happened. So, it would happen weeks before the episode came out on television. So the person made a video about it, and they were like, yeah, Lucas chooses Riley because Maya tells him to. And I was in denial. So what I did was, a week before the episode was going to come out on Disney Channel, I watched it on YouTube. I don't know how I watched it on YouTube. It was just posted there. I'm guessing maybe someone in a different country or something posted it on there. I don't know. But I watched it there, and what did you know? The person was 100% correct. Because Disney Channel, I don't want to say stupid, but they are. So, yeah. So that was the Maya, Riley, and Lucas love triangle. Next, we have Dump Them All. Dump Them All, the Dump Them All love triangle is when the main person who's in turmoil, person A, they decide to break up. It's pretty self-explanatory. They decide to break up with both people. They're it usually ends up with this whole speech I choose me, right? So, an example of that trope, well, it's all the same trope, but it's different subsets. An example of that version of the love triangle is DJ, Matt, and Steve on Fuller House. Okay. I watched 2 seasons of Fuller House before I eventually stopped watching because I didn't have Netflix anymore. But then when I got Netflix again, I just didn't care anymore. So there was that. But I did watch the first season's ending of the DJ, Matt, and Steve love triangle. I feel like DJ, Matt, and Steve is also a different subset where it's the new boyfriend, old boyfriend, but the DJ, Matt, and Steve love triangle, Steve was DJ's first ever boyfriend from Full House, and then Matt was this new veterinarian guy from work. So she liked Matt, but then Steve came back, and so she was like, oh, who should I choose? Matt and Steve. And then it was this whole build up, and it was kind of I feel like it was supposed to be poking fun at that type of turmoil that happens in shows and movies, and I was like, okay, whatever. And it ends with some sort of Bachelorette type ending where she has the final rose. And so she decides she chooses herself over Matt and Steve. But then I feel I was kind of satisfied with that until like I started watching again, and she ended up dating both Matt and Steve at separate times, and yeah, it was just kind of stupid. Yeah, so it felt like they didn't feel satisfied with their choice, and I felt like it was kind of dumb to have the revive. I feel like the biggest takeaway from Full House was family, but with Fuller House, they put a lot of it on the romance between, like the drama part of it, and I feel like for me, the few episodes I watched of Fuller House, the biggest part of it was the family part, but they just kept having it about DJ's romance and her second chance at love, and I don't care about old people finding love again, but okay, whatever. DJ's not old, she's like 40, but still. Fire and Ice. Okay, so this is a book example, and this is the, okay. Fire and Ice. So once again, back to the board. Once again, back to the board. Person A is in turmoil. Fire and Ice trope is one character is cold and aloof, and that's one of the love interests, and then the second love interest, they're nice and like warm and it's pretty much the gender swapped version of the Betty and Veronica trope, but of course, because this time it's with men, it's like, I don't know why it has to be, it's the Betty and Veronica trope, but gender swapped. So here we go. This is the worst book I ever read, by the way. This one comes from a book called The Goddess Test. I read The Goddess Test because I had a Percy. I was in the middle, not in the middle, but I just finished like reading the Percy Jackson books, so I was really into Greek mythology again. I get like Greek mythology phases every like couple of years. So I was into Greek mythology again, and what happened was I looked up a Greek mythology book in my school's library, and The Goddess Test came up, and it was like a romance book, and I'm not into romance, but whatever. I was like, let me give it a try, and look at what happened. The worst book I've ever read in my entire life came to be. So that's where we are now. So the love triangle in The Goddess Test, keep in mind, I did not read the rest of the series. I tried, I really did. I read the first book in one day, and it took me like 3 months to get through like 100 pages of the second one. So I just gave up. So the love triangle here is between Kate, the main character, one of my least favorite main characters that I've ever read, James, who's actually the Greek god Hermes, but that he's called James now, because they just like change their names every like 100 years or something. I don't know, it's kind of stupid. And then Henry, who's the Greek god Hades. And Kate, oops, she's the daughter of Demeter. But don't worry, she's not Persephone. No, she's Persephone's half-sister, or full sister, or whatever. It doesn't really matter, it's Greek mythology, everyone's related anyways.
What?
So, yeah, that's what happened. So, James is the fire, Henry is the ice. Henry's very abusive, but here's the thing. Kate doesn't reciprocate James's feelings. James feels like he'll be a better husband to Kate, but the first book ends with Henry and Kate getting married. So, it's really not a love triangle, but it is, because it's like, oh, because she can spend 6 months of the year with Henry, and she spends 6 months of the year. She spent 6 months of the year in the upside world. So that 6 months, Henry's like, you can do whatever you want, be with whoever you want. I don't care. We're technically not married for those 6 months. So James is like, heh heh heh. But she's like, no, I'll always love a Henry. I don't know if James and Kate ever like kiss or whatever. Like I said, I stopped reading the series. It was really stupid. But yeah, that's the fire. It was so stupid. Oh my gosh. That series invokes a rage in me. It's like not even like a rage where it's like, it's a rage where I'm just kind of like over everything. Like the book, I like talked about that book for like a month and a half because it was so bad. Like every time it was just an insult, and like the more I thought about it, the worse the book became. So I originally rated it like a 2.5, then I gave it a 1 star. But really, it deserves 0 stars. Oops, sorry to whoever wrote it. Not really, write a better book. That was horrible. That was like really bad. It was very toxic, very like, and it got really like boring. And it was like supposed to be like a mystery because it was like who was murdering the potential brides, but then it was so stupid and it was so dumb, and oh my gosh. Anyways, on to the next one. We're on to the imaginary love triangle. The imaginary love triangle is when one person in the imaginary love triangle thinks that they're in a love triangle when really they aren't. And technically the James Henry Kate one can count as that because James thinks he's, well, technically both James and Henry think they're in a love triangle, but the one I chose for the example was Ron, Harry, Hermione, aka the Golden Trio from Harry Potter. Ron thinks that he's in some sort of competition with Harry for Hermione's feelings. I think I feel like if it was a choice between Harry and Hermione or Ron and Hermione, I'd choose Harry and Hermione. Even though I like Harry and Ginny better, I just like Harry and Hermione better than Ron and Hermione because they're constant bickering. Whenever they fight with each other, they really come for each other's necks. So I think the constant bickering would have been bad for a relationship. Like, anyways, don't buy the Harry Potter books. Don't buy Harry Potter merch. I know that sounds a little hypocritical as I speak to you with my Harry Potter one, and I do have other Harry Potter. I have the Sorcerer's Stone, and I have both screenplays of the Fantastic Beasts movies and like a pencil stand thing with like Harry Potter's face on it, but it's like with like the glasses and the scar and the scarf. But don't buy Harry Potter merch. Don't buy anything related to Harry Potter. It's a good series, but it's not good enough to support a transphobic person. And J.K. Rowling has hate coming out of her ears, and differing opinions are okay, but you do not get to have an opinion. Other people get to have the right to exist. So don't support J.K. Rowling. Don't support her books. Just read Percy Jackson. It's a better series. Like Harry Potter, I feel like if it came out today, wouldn't be as praised as it was back then. It's a good series, but it's not good enough for J.K. Rowling to be acting a fool.
This is a PSA.
Next. Okay, I don't know how to read this. Love dodecahedron.
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 It's pretty much a love triangle where it's not a triangle at all, but it has lots of people involved. So there's lots of cases of this in the show I'm about to mention, Violeta. It's a Spanish soap opera that's on Disney+. I didn't finish watching that either because it was like a mix of the worst things from both Disney Channel and telenovelas. So I stopped watching. But I do know who ended up, I only know like, I know 2 couples that ended up together, but I was actually really surprised. This is like one of the only couples that surprised me with who ended up with who. Did I write down the other one that surprised me? Did I? Who knows? I don't really care. Anyways, so we have for the
Dodecahedron.
I'm probably saying that wrong. So, there's the main character, Violeta, and then she has this guy named Tomas who's in love with her, but Tomas has a girl named Ludmilla who's in love with him, and there's another girl who I forgot her name, but she's also in love with Tomas, but he doesn't love her like that. So he loves her like a sister. She loves him like a boyfriend. And then Ludmilla has a boyfriend named Leon, and Leon doesn't like Tomas. So because Leon thinks that Tomas, this is so stupid. Leon thinks that Tomas likes Ludmilla. So he starts, because Ludmilla and Leon are dating, so he starts flirting with Violeta to get Tomas upset. But so really the love triangle is between these 3. Not really these 3 either, but kind of. And then eventually Leon and Ludmilla break up. And then there's another guy who's in love with Violeta. And then the Leon and Ludmilla break up, but then Leon actually likes Violeta. But then Tomas still really likes Violeta, but Violeta likes Tomas, so she breaks it off with. But so she tells Leon that she only wants to be friends, and yeah, I watched 12 episodes of this. It was an hour each episode, and it was bad. It was really, 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 really bad. Not that it's a bad show. It's like Disney Channel good. No, there's some really good Disney Channel shows, but it's like Disney Channel average. So, Ludmilla likes Tomas, Tomas likes Violeta, Violeta likes Tomas, Leon likes Violeta, and this other chick who I forgot her name, she likes Tomas. And then one of this chick's friends who doesn't speak Spanish but also speaks nobody knows where he's from, but he always gets cut off whenever he's gonna say it, but he likes Violeta as well. And yeah, but shocker, Violeta and Tomas don't end up together. Violeta ends up with Leon, and Ludmilla ends up with some other guy, and I didn't really care about everybody else. So I'm just guessing Tomas leaves the show, because what was his purpose other than to be Violeta's love interest? But whatever. So that was the love dodecahedron.
Dodecahedron.
I don't know how to say that, but that's what that is. And then there was another one that I didn't write down, but it was like Angie, that's Violeta's aunt, but Violeta doesn't know that Angie is her aunt. So Angie, she likes, what's his name? Herman. Angie likes Herman, and then Herman has a fiance named Jade, and so then Angie has a best friend who likes her. I forget his name, but then Angie also has this other guy. He's a rock star, and he likes Angie. However, Angie and Herman end up together because Jade is just your average cartoon villain. So Angie and Herman end up together. They get married. I'm guessing Angie eventually tells Violeta that she is her aunt, but the thing that weirded me out was Angie is Violeta's mom's sister. Why are you marrying your brother-in-law? But Angie and Herman are in love. Angie becomes Violeta's stepmom, and I'm guessing Violeta still has to deal with this. There was a lot of love like things. I don't know if I'm gonna like put pictures or anything, because if I don't, I'll just be pointing at an empty wall. But still. Next I have The Gentleman or The Scoundrel. Once again, like the same thing as the Betty and Veronica thing, but gender swapped. It's like the same thing, I feel like. So The Gentleman and the Scoundrel. I chose Peeta, Katniss, and Gale from The Hunger Games. So the way I see it is, Peeta, he's the... So, Peeta's always been like super, he helps people for the sake of helping people. He doesn't care about class or anything, like he just wants to help people. Gale is bloodthirsty and revenge driven, especially when he like starts setting off bombs or something. And Katniss chooses Peeta in the end, instead of Gale, who's played by Liam Hemsworth in the movie. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Next. Oh, I haven't seen this. Rich suitor, poor suitor. So for that, I just kind of scrambled. And I thought of Jack, Rose, and that other dude from Titanic. So usually the rich suitor, poor suitor is just a way of like arranged marriage or marrying someone for your family to be wealthy. But then the poor suitor is the one with the heart and the soul. And that's who the girl usually ends up choosing. Because rich people are always portrayed to be the worst people. And, you know, they are.
Oh, I got hecka bands. That's the last thing.
Yeah, you heard you was going to diss me. What happened?
Y'all so fake, you made of plastic.
Oh.
But that's what the rich suitor, poor suitor trope is. I've never seen Titanic. I have no urge to see Titanic, so I can't really give you any more information than that. Next, we have the sibling triangle. I've never seen this either, but we're going to talk about it because I actually know quite a lot because I watched Jenny Nicholson's video on it. So, the sibling triangle, if you watched her video, you know what I'm going to talk about. Damon, Elena, and Stefan, the Vampire Diaries. Okay. This is what made me want to make this video. The Vampire Diaries. I wanted to check out the Vampire Diaries, even though I know the main plot point is like the love triangle between Damon and Elena and Stefan. However, I kind of wanted to watch it because there's such a strong fan base around it. So I was like, whatever. But then I watched Jenny Nicholson's video on it, and I realized, what is the casual Confederates propaganda going on in this show that came out in like 2011?
We all make choices, but that was a choice.
So I decided not to watch it. But I'm still going to talk about it because I know who ends up with who. So, Damon, this technically also falls under a lot of the, a couple of the other tropes that I talked about before. The Betty, Veronica, I wouldn't say Fire and Ice. The Gentleman and the Scoundrel. So, the thing is, it's just that they're siblings. So and that's a specific like subset. So, the siblings. Damon and Stefan are siblings. You know, that's how it would work. So, they're both in love with Elena because she looks like their former girlfriend, Catherine. I think she turned them or something. I don't know. So, Damon is the bad boy. He likes killing people or something. He's a they're both vampires. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of like common Vampire Diaries knowledge. You know that these two are vampires. You know they're vampires, because why would she be in love? It's a show called The Vampire Diaries. Why would she be in like emotional turmoil over who to choose on a show called The Vampire Diaries and nobody's like a supernatural being. Like, that would be kind of stupid, wouldn't it? Anyways, she meets Stefan first, but then Stefan's bad boy brother Damon comes to town, and so now he keeps flirting with Elena. They like road trip or something together or something, and she ends up like liking him, and then they kiss, and while like Stefan is like dying or something, I told you I didn't watch the show, so this is just my interpretation of the information that I have heard. So he's like dying, or he's like drinking blood or like something. It's really weird. So they end up getting together, and so he's like dying, and then Elena and Damon are in love, but she still loves Stefan. She's just not in love with him. But Damon and Elena end up together. They get married, and then Stefan just ends up marrying Elena's friend Caroline. And that's it. That's the sibling love triangle. So, squaring the love triangle. I've also never seen this, but I have watched. It's pretty, like, I feel like you know what this is. Squaring the love triangle. Squaring the love triangle is when the person in the love triangle picks their person. And the person who's left out of the love triangle, they're left out. And so these two make a baby, and that baby and this suitor end up together. I feel like you already know what I'm going to talk about, because I feel like this is the only place where this has happened. If it's happened somewhere else, that's upsetting. So, Twilight, you were either Team Jacob or you were Team Edward. I was Team Nobody because I didn't care. You were either Team Jacob or you were Team Edward. But maybe I am Team Edward because Jacob's a creep. Anyways, there's Bella here. So, Bella and Edward get together and they have little creepy baby Renesmee. Jacob is like on a mission to kill Renesmee, and then he touches the, no, I'm not gonna say that. He holds the baby and he like has visions of the girl of Renesmee being a beautiful woman, so he imprints on her, and he's like, don't worry, I'm just gonna wait until she's an adult. As if that's not grooming, but okay, alright.
The sad part, you're not going to jail. You're going to prison.
And he tells Bella the only reason that he was attracted to her was because he just knew she was gonna give birth to a baby who he'll be in love with. That's something. Definitely. So that's the squaring the love triangle, because you get it, it's squaring it because they have a baby, so then that baby is added, but then the baby and the guy, why am I making an X? The baby and the guy get together because like, that's just, why is that a trope? Anyways, next, two-person love interest. I've also never seen this. So, well, I've never read this. So, the two-person love interest is when person A loves two people. Those two people end up being the same person. So I feel like this is probably a kind of like a Lois Lane, Superman, Clark Kent type vibe. However, that's not what I wrote because I didn't think of it at that point. What I could think of was the Sadie Kane Chronicles, which is what I want to read soon, where Sadie is in love with like these two guys. I don't know their names, and then they just like merge bodies, so she gets to be with both of them in one body. Yay! Anyways, next we have we have the vampire werewolf love triangle. Usually human, one of the suitors is a vampire, one of the suitors is a werewolf. Twilight. So Bella, human, vampire Edward, werewolf Jacob. So yeah, next we're getting to the ones that I created, because I do a lot of TV watching. If you haven't been able to tell, TV, movies, music, that's me. So, love triangle that excuses infidelity. So, probably won't, like, that's a weird title for it. I couldn't come up with these snappy titles that tvtropes.com came up with. However, this is like a trope that happens a lot, so that I've seen. So we'll have the main person, they're in a relationship, married, dating, they're committed to someone. That person is here. Now, that person might be mean, if this person could have spent like 20 years with this person, that person might be mean, might be annoying, might be vain, or like, there's two ways it goes. It's either this person's like vain, annoying, or mean, and this person is really sweet, so that person moving to be with this person, so the person here who leaves their relationship with the person here to be with this person, it's okay because this person's nice, but this person's mean and annoying. So that means that this is okay because this person's a horrible person. Then there's a second way the trope goes. We have person A, they're in turmoil because they love this person, but they also love this person, but this person they've been in a relationship with for maybe 2 years, maybe 20, who cares? They're in a committed relationship with this person, but then they found out that this person lied to them. So now they're gonna go be with that person. Yeah, or like this person will be like jealous of this person, but then this person acts like they have nothing to be jealous about. But then the movie ends and they're together. So maybe this person wasn't wrong. Now, there's Glee and there's Finn, Rachel, Quinn. Quinn and Finn were in a relationship. Quinn cheated on Finn, but Rachel and Finn were having an emotional affair. Anyways, then there's Will, Terry, and Emma. Will and Emma had an emotional affair. Will and Terry was lying. Will and Terry were married. Terry was lying about being pregnant. Horrible people, right? And then we have the B movie. What's his name? Jerry Seinfeld, the woman, and the guy. The guy, why put that wrong? The woman, Jerry Seinfeld, the guy. Anyways, the guy and her are engaged. I've seen the B movie like twice, both of which not intentionally. I watched it like 1.5 times because I watched the like second half of it and I watched it completely. So the guy and her are engaged, I think, but then she has like this weird thing with the bee, but it's because he's irrationally afraid she's gonna leave him for the bee, which she eventually does.
You like jazz?
Next, we have the distraction. This is a very common form of a love triangle, and this is why I don't like them. The distraction. Okay, we have person A, we have person B. They're in a committed relationship. They love each other. They'll do anything for each other. And then, maybe a tragic accident will separate them. Maybe they just break up because they need time away from each other. Or maybe an ex or whoever comes. And now person A is now conflicted. And now we have the distraction. We all know person A and person B are going to end up together. However, person C is just there to slow down the process of them ending up together. Instead of creating a good plot point, they add this character whose only purpose is to cause turmoil in these two's relationship. We have a good example, Desperate Housewives. Susan, Mike, Ian. I didn't like Ian. I don't like Susan. I don't like Mike. Anyways, Susan and Mike, we all know they're going to end up together. Mike gets hit by a car, Orson's driving it, and he gets hit by the car, and then he's in a coma. So Susan and Ian, they start dating because they meet in the hospital because their spouses are in comas. And so Susan and Ian are dating, but then Mike wakes up. So now Susan wants to be with Mike, but he has amnesia. So he doesn't remember his last 3 years on Wisteria Lane. So he doesn't remember Susan or all of the times that they spent together. So Susan has to go back to being with Ian. So Ian and Susan date for an entire season. We all knew she wasn't ending up with this man. She ends up with Mike. He gets his memories back. She ends up breaking up with Ian. And Susan marries Mike until Mike is killed 2 episodes before the series finale just for shock value. Anyways, another example of this trope, Charmed, we have what's his name? Harry, Macy, and Abigail. Don't like her. Anyways, Harry likes Abigail, and Harry also likes Macy. But Macy is who Harry's going to end up with, first of all, because she's a main character. She's the main character. Second of all, why would you choose Abigail over Macy? Why? Who in their right minds would choose Abigail over Macy? Anyways, Harry doesn't choose Abigail over Macy. He just kind of strings her along until Macy's ready to be with him. And that's Charmed. Next, we have 2 for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1. That trope is when this person A, in turmoil because they can't pick between person B, person C. So, person A, they choose person B. They start dating for a bit. They break up. Maybe person B cheated on them. Then, person C comes back, and person A can be with them, and they get to live the best of both worlds. That's right, I'm talking about Hannah Montana. Miley, Jake, Jesse. Jesse was the right choice. Jesse was always the right choice. Yeah, Miley chose Jake because they had more chemistry together, or they had more history together, whatever. And so, she chose Jake. Then, she didn't see him for, a year. And he's, out cheating on her when he does come back. So, then, the next episode, look who's back. Jesse. He's here to stay this time. And Miley finally fixes her mistake from 2 seasons ago. And now they're together. And they end the series together. So in my mind, they get married. Because that's just how it goes with Disney Channel. So, yeah, they spend the rest of their lives together. But Jessie was always clearly the right choice. He actually liked her. Jake was annoying, and yeah, he was just really annoying. Like, very, very, very annoying. Like, even though Jake was the first one of the first people she ever told her secret to, he was so annoying. When she told him the secret, you saw him. He was stupid, and I didn't like him. And Jessie was always the right choice. So her finally rectifying her mistake seasons later. Next. That's the 2 for the price of 1. Next, the psychotic love triangle. The psychotic love triangle is person A, person B, and person C. Love triangle. However, 2 or more of the people in the love triangle are crazy. And that's how we have Chad Radwell, Hester, Chanel Oberlin from Scream Queens. I'm still watching Scream Queens. I'm not enjoying it anymore. I'm on season 2. Ryan Murphy. You have to pay for your crimes against humanity because this season's bad. Anyways, it's giving season 6 of Glee. Next, Chanel is insane. She pushed someone down. She pushed Hester down the stairs because she didn't want Chad to take her to Thanksgiving. Hester, clearly a psychopath. She was the Red Devil murderer. And then Chad just gives me psychopathic tendencies. So, yeah, they're all crazy. Next, we have the Chase 2 Girls Lose the One. That is a reference to the album of the year, the award-winning album, Folklore by Miss Taylor Swift. Anyways, Chase 2 Girls Lose the One. So that's what that means is person A, B, C. Person A is deliberating, or maybe they just truly can't decide between them. So nobody ends up with anyone. Nobody in the love triangle gets together. They all just go their separate ways, or maybe they stay friends but just don't date. And for that we have Freddie, Carly, and Sam. For my Carly, I'm watching the reboot. It's pretty good. I'll probably make a video on it. But Freddie has a weird crush on Carly for most of the show. Then he gets with Sam. But it's always a battle of who did Freddie really love. Because he calls Sam and they're like, oh, maybe we should get back together. But then in the series finale, this is all in the series finale, by the way, he and Carly kiss. But first, like, Sam and Freddie were toxic. However, Carly didn't actually like Freddie. And Freddie was a little too obsessed with Carly. Anyways, yeah, so nobody ends up together. And that's the Freddie, Carly, Sam love triangle. It's like kind of a love triangle. He likes them at different points of his life. However, you don't know who he's going to end up being with. And he ends up being with neither. He ends up being divorced with an adopted child. So, yeah, that's my video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Sign the petition in the link, and sign the petition in the link. Sign the petition linked in the description box below. And I'll see y'all next week. Or maybe in 4 months. Who knows? I'm unpredictable. Ew, why am I ending it like this? Bye.